Not all of those drugs are made in the U.S.
In fact, some of these substances originate thousands of miles away. Our Casey Freeman explains how they get to the Tennessee Valley.
Cities across the country are battling an increase of opioids being used recreationally on the streets and destroying lives. Sergeant Dax McGowan with the Cleveland Police Department has been fighting the rise of opioids for almost 2 decades. He says a majority of the crimes he investigates involves these drugs.
Your burglaries go up, your thefts go up. People are not stealing things to pay their house payment. They're stealing things to afford their addiction.
Marijuana, methamphetamine, heroin, and now fentanyl are the 4 drugs officers encounter daily. McGowan says these opioids are produced in South America, travel to port cities like Miami, then carriers make their way to hubs like Atlanta. Eventually, they end up in places like Cleveland. He says today, dealers selling product hide in plain sight at places like grocery stores and gas stations, which makes it hard for officers to catch everything.
Now it's so spread out, like they're selling dope down here, they're selling dope all the way up north. So there's a 7-mile difference.
Cleveland's crime suppression unit is seeing an increase in the creation of fake tablets that contain fentanyl since the Drug Enforcement Administration started cracking down on doctors who prescribe their medication. The goal for dealers is to give users a stronger high for less money.
You don't know who's making that drug at that time, which makes it very dangerous for our community. You get some of the drug in one spot, you get some of the cut in one spot. If they try to wean themselves off and they go back, they usually try to go back to the same amount in which they were doing before they either went to jail, they either went to rehab, and with that, that's when you usually have your overdoses.
In the last year, Cleveland has seen nearly a 60% increase in drug and narcotics charges. That's according to the TBI. McGowan says their work is far from over as drug distribution changes constantly.
Like any other business, you research. Drug dealers are not stupid, especially ones that don't get caught.
McGowan's unit uses certain tactics focusing on drug dealers in hopes of getting an edge on the fight.
We find high-level targets and we go after those targets. And to get to those targets, we use different targets.
Reporting in Cleveland, Casey Freeman, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
And as we try to curb the opioid epidemic, many of the 50 million Americans who suffer